Okay, folks, I apologize for that. Okay, friends, thank you for your patience.
Are we ready?
We are,
Calling to order the July 24th, 2024 meeting of the Newport Historic Preservation Commission.
August 28th. August 28th.
August 24th.
28th. Yes, so our first will roll call. So Commissioner Clift?
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker? Commissioner Fleckinger?
Here.
Commissioner Haas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kolb?
Here.
Commissioner Ramler?
Here.
All are in attendance. So our first item is actually a presentation. Scott Clark is going to give a brief introduction, and then we're going to hear from Nicole Conkle of the Kentucky Heritage Council.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I want to thank Jennifer and the Commission for allowing me to make the announcement I'm about to make. I am very pleased to tell you and the greater Newport that next May, Newport will be the host site for the State of Kentucky Historic Preservation Conference. This is a biannual conference. We were very fortunate that they saw how incredible Newport actually is, and so we will be hosting folks from all over the state of Kentucky, from Main Street communities, CLGs, here in Newport. It'll be start on May 14th. It'll run through the 16th, capped off by the NKY restoration event on the 17th. You'll hear a whole lot more about it, but one of the reasons I'm telling you tonight is because my friend Nicole is probably going to let the cat out of the bag anyway. So I thought I'd go ahead and do it myself. So you'll hear more about it, but it will give us an opportunity to really show off our historic areas, some of the incredible tax credit projects, and the leadership that Newport has in the state of Kentucky in historic preservation and in the region. So our speaker is Nicole Conkle. She is the Site Protection Program Manager for the Kentucky Heritage Council. And I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to let her speak for herself. So, thank you.
Hi, everybody. As Scott said, I'm Nicole Conkle with the Kentucky Heritage Council. I'm also
2024. Did everybody have time to review those minutes? I got a lot louder, sorry. Were there any errors or anything that you all found that needed to be noted?
I did not.
Okay. Okay. Do we have a motion to,
Anybody want to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
here we go. Very sorry. Okay. Commissioner Clift?
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker?
Yes.
Commissioner Fleckinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Haas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kolb?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramler?
Yes.
Okay, so that's our first set of meeting minutes. There was also a very brief set for August 7th that I sent out today. If you did not have time to review those, we can always continue those to a future meeting. But those are just rehashing what we discussed at our working session. Given that no action was taken, those are much more brief than what we would typically.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Clift?
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker?
Yes.
Commissioner Fleckinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Haas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kolb?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramler?
Yes.
Unanimous. Okay. So our next item, HP 2400-885, is the election of a chairperson for the Newport Historic Preservation Commission. John Hayden, do you want to kind of lead us in making sure that we hold this election correctly? Now, my understanding is that we just need somebody to nominate someone, and then we treat that as a typical motion.
That's correct. I think everybody on this board has been here long enough to qualify to be the chair of the board. Everybody's aware of how the board functions. I think earlier this year, we elected Mike Cole to be the vice chair. He's certainly eligible as well. So if Mike were to become the chairman, then we would go to Part B here and elect the vice chairman as well. So I think the first part is we open up for nominations and give a reason.
I'd like to nominate Mike Kolb to be the chairperson.
I'll second.
Okay, that was easy. Okay, so for the nomination of Mike Kolb as chair, Commissioner Clift,
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleckinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Haas,
Yes.
Commissioner Kolb,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramler.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so now we need a vice chair, since we just gave ours a promotion. Do I have a nomination for a vice chairperson?
Can I nominate Mark Ramler for that position?
I second.
Okay, Commissioner Clift,
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleckinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Haas,
Yes.
Commissioner Kolb,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramler.
Yes.
Good. Just realized I didn't actually ask if anyone accepted their nominations. So thanks for all being good sports. Okay, let's move on to our first property item. Chair Cole, will you please read off the agenda item?
Where are we
It's our first one for 503 East 4th.
Yeah, application for a certificate of appropriateness to build a detached garage at 503 East 4th Street, Newport, Kentucky.
Wonderful. And we do have the applicant here as well as the property owner. I will start off. Grab that. You're having such a fun meeting. Okay, so we're looking at a garage at 503 East 4th Street. The applicant was Clay O'Daniel, but the homeowner is here as well. So in our guidelines, page 49 states that new outbuildings should be simple in design to complement and blend with the residents. Artificial sidings will be considered if sensitively applied and utilized. So I sent you all PDFs that showed what the design looks like. They're looking at using hardy board siding. When they first put in their application, they did assume that they would need to put in wood windows. The application materials show 4/4. They actually want to change that to 1/1, which would match the home there. They suggested wood. I said we'll ask about vinyl since it's been approved elsewhere, but there are garages in the district where wood has been required. So I wanted to leave that up to you all. The door that is on the property side would be masonite. The garage door would be metal with a wood appearance. So I'm recommending that we approve the design with the 1/1 windows, with the hardy board, right, with all of those components. My question for you is whether you're willing to allow vinyl that would be visible from the street, is my understanding, or whether you would ask for wood windows. So for those findings of fact, every time we have a vote on a COA, we discuss our findings of fact, right? The first question is, does it meet the guidelines? So it is a simple design that complements the home. It will be painted to match the home. The use of artificial materials or substitute materials are generally things we have seen elsewhere in the district, with the possible exception of those vinyl windows, given that it's a corner property that will be visible from the street. The yard is enclosed in quite a lot of landscaping and fencing, so the visibility will be fairly low. So the question of our second findings of fact question is what will the effect be on the integrity of the property? I would argue that this will be low visibility. We have a simple design that doesn't detract from the home. I would argue that this will not harm the integrity of that property. The next question is, what will the effect be on other homes in the district? There is already a precedent for garages on corner properties in this district, so this simple design will not harm the integrity of the district. Do I have any questions from the commission before we invite the applicant up?
So the windows are already vinyl. Are we replacing vinyl windows with vinyl windows?
So this is a new garage.
New build.
So there is not a garage currently there. There is a concrete slab, is my understanding, but there's not a garage there. So this would not be replacing, this would be bringing a new window into the district. We have allowed vinyl on secondary facades. This is a corner property. That window will be visible from the street. So that's my question for you all. Any further questions from the commission?
None for me.
Wonderful, and excuse me, I should have said windows, there are the two, right? Boop. Okay, would we like to invite the applicant up to speak? Eric?
Yes, Clay, would you like to come up and?
Excuse me.
Does he need to be sworn in?
Thank you.
Good catch.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Everybody that would like to offer testimony today, please raise your right hand.
If you're going to be speaking,
Swear you're going to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing else but the truth, and any testimony that's been entered at this point is
yes.
Absolutely. You guys have questions for me about this garage or what we're trying to do here? I'm just kind of,
Just have one question, just for clarification. The garage is going in place where that slab, it kind of looks like in this photo here, that there's a car nose putting out right
So
there.
there
Is that the
is-
location?
there is an existing slab there with the stem walls that were built there, and it had proper footings and all of the things. It was designed in and permitted earlier, and we're just adding to that now.
I was just more for visual, like reference. That's that back corner.
Yes, it's that far back off the corner.
Thanks.
Probably, if I did, I don't have a tape on it, but if I was guessing, I'd say it's 20, 25 feet off the corner. something like that.
So the base of these windows would be kind of level with the yard? 'cause the
Yeah,
garage
pretty
is-
much. The stem walls, I think, are 2.5 feet tall, and then you have a space, you know, a little, it would be up off of the slab a little bit, but
Since it is a secondary structure, and it's new construction, I don't have a huge issue with the use of vinyl since it is off the street, but would they be white or would they be dark? Would they match the house?
we're planning to match the house.
So they'd be darker windows?
Yeah. I like things that look like they belong there.
Good. I don't have any objection to vinyl windows either.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on that?
No, I don't have any problem.
Not with this build.
Due to the low visibility of being in that back corner,
it's already-
the shrubbery and around,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
If it were right on the street or something,
that'd be a different question.
that would be totally different, but
So how high will they be? Because I always have a problem with vinyl windows, especially with,
so you see the fence here, Mary Beth, like they would probably be right, almost level with the yard. Because this yard sits up like 2.5,
yes, it
3
does.
feet.
It does.
So when they build the garage, kind of those windows will already be not highly visible because there's that big stone wall around the
Okay,
front.
yes.
And all the shrubbery,
Okay.
so, and I don't think they're planning on opening that up.
No, no. But the design is very appropriate.
Thank you.
Great design.
I don't have any other questions. Anybody want to take a stab at a motion to,
We want to let the applicant sit back down before we
okay,
action.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
thank you.
Okay, friendly reminder that we have 3 findings of fact that we want to make sure we've discussed. So we want to talk about whether this meets the guidelines, what the effect will be on the property, and what the effect will be on the district. And we will help you through that. We're all in it.
So, I guess considering the findings of fact, that the proposed work is consistent with the guidelines.
What would the effect be on the property?
And the proposed design will not be highly visible from a public right-of-way. It won't really affect the historic character of the property.
Okay, and then what about the district? You can say same.
And the proposed design will not be highly visible from the street, but even so, a simple design will complement the surrounding historic properties.
Beautiful. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. And I'm sorry, was that Commissioner Bramble?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I will do roll call. Commissioner Clift?
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker?
Yes.
Commissioner Fleckinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Haas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kolb?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramler?
Yes.
Okay, and just to clarify, so what they submitted, what we had in this design was vinyl windows, or is that what the intended motion was? Or did you mean to?
As long as they match the color of the house windows.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so you will hear back from me with information on how to proceed. Yes? Oh, just kidding. So they're going to be wood.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
We love wood windows. Okay, fabulous. Okay.
So, next item Application for a certificate of appropriateness to replace front and vinyl side windows with vinyl windows at 922 Monroe Street. Mr. Lauterbach?
Okay, and the applicant is here today. So first I will give my staff report. Now, we noticed this and it said that there's front and side vinyl windows. I want to be clear that the windows in question are on the side of the home. They are on the south elevation. There are 4 that face south, but there's one that faces east. It is over the recessed entryway into the home. You have like a Northern Kentucky design, right? So the applicants are requesting to replace windows that have already been changed to vinyl with new vinyl windows of the same design, which are 1/1. They're all along the second story, so none of these are first story windows. Like I said, 4 of them are facing south. They're not terribly easy to see from the street, as you might see in those photos. But there is one that does face east. It is over that recessed entry. So for our findings of fact, the first question, does the proposed plan meet the guidelines? So the guidelines on page 33 do call for the replacement of modern windows with wood in the East Row district, and this is in the East Row, it's a contributing property. Page 14 does allow for the use of substitute materials, and we do have precedent for allowing the replacement of vinyl with vinyl on secondary facades when there's limited visibility, right? So when we're looking at second-story windows or when the houses are very close together. The question of how this would affect the integrity of the property, well, the windows are already vinyl, so there wouldn't be any further loss of historic materials or a change in appearance. There is limited visibility of those that face south. Some of these are a bit more visible than what we saw in our last, I believe that was on Park, where we approved vinyl on the sides, right? Those houses were closer together. So this is a bit more visible, but again, this is not involving the loss of historic materials necessarily for that property. My concern is really for the district. So the third question is, how does this affect the integrity of the district? So there is precedent in the district in allowing vinyl on secondary elevations, but I admit to some concern about that window over the entryway that faces east. So my question for you all is, that is the side, but that is considered a primary facade because of that recessed entryway, according to our new guidelines. Are we willing to allow the replacement of vinyl with vinyl on primary facades in the East Row? Are we willing to set that precedent for the district? And that's my staff report. Do you have any questions for me?
Anybody have any questions, comments?
I guess the only redeeming factor is the fact that it's recessed to nearly the middle of the house. It's not on the front, so, but there is a precedent that we've not allowed them on the front facade, correct?
Right. And these are just the upper ones, not the side first 4 windows?
Yes.
I think it could be any less noticeable for that particular east-facing facade, but
Okay, are there any further questions for staff before we open up to the applicant? Okay, hearing none. Would you like to join us? Sure, come on up. You'll want to speak kind of close to the mic.
Gotcha. Yeah, my name's Ed Lauterbach. I submitted this application. We're primarily trying to replace these windows just because when we moved in, they're already there, and we just noticed they kind of slide down. We had someone check them out. The settings are kind of damaged. The windows are warped, and we've just had a bunch of trouble. Obviously, airflow through them, lack of efficiency, high utilities, stuff like that. So yeah, we reached out to Champion Windows. They offered to replace them. I didn't realize the stipulations until I applied for the certificate of approval. for the wooden windows. Obviously, we found that out now. We are replacing vinyl with vinyl. They're gonna look visually identical to what's there. And yeah, 4 of them face south. 1 is facing the alley between the houses. I guess that's west. And then 1 does face
Oh,
east.
see.
It's above the door, facing the street. But I think that's all. We didn't mean it to be a cosmetic change of anything. Like I said, they're gonna be identical. We mostly did it for just windows that work and that are efficient.
Okay.
Just a quick note that if there's anything that's facing west into the alley, that is not within our purview, just so you know. So
Perfect, yeah.
yes. So we're only looking at anything that would be on the side that's facing south, and then that one that's facing east. I've got that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I believe so.
Oh, no, did I get turned around? That's embarrassing, but okay, we're good. Thanks.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks
absolutely.
for
Any questions or anything?
the work.
I see that the Champion contract has it, the sashes are white, just like they are now.
Uh-huh.
Is there a way to get another color, like dark black?
If you give me 1 second, let me check. I have the pamphlet they gave me. I believe I could ask, I can reach out to the person I've been speaking to. The color options here are white and tan. I don't know if you would have a preference between either of those, but,
Well, honestly, my preference is wood windows.
okay.
We have made provisions for vinyl, but generally, it's in the rear part of a house, not, these windows are readily seen from the sidewalk. And so, my thought is that we hold fast to the guidelines and choose wood.
Have you priced out wood windows?
Not yet, no. I have not looked at it.
I don't know that Champion carries.
They do not
It does-
offer.
We can work with
We can,
recommendations on who to talk to price out wood windows, because
Okay.
I've replaced vinyl with wood, and there's a lot of reasonable options.
Cool.
do we have
I
any
just think
further?
This is just, it's too visible, especially coming down Monroe, to put in white vinyl windows that'll be there for a very long time now. It's like they were put in before the district was in place, but now that the guidelines are here, I don't think we can allow them.
Are you interested in pursuing some options in wood?
We do want to replace the windows because they aren't functioning, so I suppose yes, that would be, yeah.
Okay, so are there any further questions for the applicant before we open up discussion among the commission?
No.
Thank you. You can sit back. You're gonna-
Thank you.
So, does anybody entertain a motion to,
We just table it? Or can we just table it? Or do we have to make a vote on it?
I think the board would be free to table if they want to, if the applicant finds other options or come back here as opposed to having to reapply. Of course, if the board knows there's no fee to apply for a COA, so probably 6 of one, half of another, if you, however you guys want to do it. But if it's a matter of timing, you just want to get it back in for the next meeting, I assume, once it gets done, it starts getting cold.
Yeah.
I think tabling it needs to be on the next agenda would be fine. And so if you're not, if that's the board's pleasure, and you're not ready in a month, that's not a problem at all, just let Ms. Williams know that, you push out another month, that's no problem at all.
Or if you are, I mean, I think that she would have it in her purview to make a call on wood windows in that situation.
Yeah, and I think that, if the applicant wanted, let's say that he goes out and can't find, but the cost is prohibitive, or whatever the way it might be, you can come back here and make the argument to the board for an exception based on those reasons as well, so Mr. Fletcher's point, it may make sense to table it for that reason, that he can come and still make the argument to the board. Yeah, I looked at vinyl, I looked at wood, these are reasons why I can't move forward with that, and then if he finds wood, he's happy with that, then Jennifer goes, we've got this
Move to table.
So I'd like to make a motion that we table this to the next meeting.
A second.
Can you repeat who seconded? I'm so sorry. Okay, so we are tabling. Okay, Commissioner Clift?
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker?
Yes.
Commissioner Fleckinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Haas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kolb?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramler?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. So I will get back in touch and we'll discuss next steps, okay? All right, thank you. Chair?
Next item, application for a certificate of appropriateness to replace side wood windows with vinyl windows at 822 Washington Avenue.
Okay, so we do have our applicant here. I will start with a staff report. So the property there at 822 Washington was listed as contributing but altered in the 1989 survey, which is not uncommon to see. Like, this one is in tough shape and we're going to count it as contributing, but it is important to note that there were substantial alterations. There was vinyl siding, a lot of original materials were removed. There are wood windows on the north elevation on the side that are severely deteriorated, and the applicant wants to replace those wood windows with vinyl. He did note that those windows, and you might be able to see this in the pictures we included, that the windows are of different designs. Some are 1/1 and some are 2/2. I believe that's correct, which suggests that some of them may or may not be original to the property. The guidelines, so again, findings of fact. First question, the guidelines do call for wood to be replaced with wood. There's certainly an emphasis on protecting the original windows, but the intent is there that if you've got wood, we ask for that to be replaced with wood. That said, again, page 14 gives you all the power to approve substitute materials. The question of how this would affect the property. Now, to be fair, there has been some deferred maintenance. So new windows would be an improvement in appearance, but the removal of wood and replacement with vinyl will involve a loss of historic integrity. The third question of what is the effect on the district? So the wood windows in question are on a secondary facade without terribly high visibility. Again, it's not as close as what we've seen in the past where it's been approved, but those houses are fairly close together. Removal and replacement with a non-historic material will not necessarily greatly harm the district, but there will certainly be an effect. And there is the question of precedence. We have been willing to work with applicants in certain cases when they need to replace windows on secondary facades. And my question for you is, are we willing to set a precedent of allowing wood windows to be replaced with vinyl or other substitute materials on secondary facades moving forward? And just because I say setting a precedent, that doesn't mean that we would not review future cases on a case-by-case basis, doesn't mean that we're delegating it to staff. But, you know, we always consider precedent and what's been done elsewhere in the district. So, do the commissioners have any questions for me?
Are you restoring or keeping the front windows?
Those I am doing, so my plan was to do, and I've already gotten the COA to replace the front windows
With wood, okay.
Do you want me to come up?
To ask,
So this property, I mean, you were giving it too much credit. It's basically I guess it would be the south wall where the windows are, is almost falling over at this point. So when we demoed it, I kind of got lucky in some aspects. Like, we took it was covered with just horrible siding. So we took it off and it looked like all the original siding was gone because the plywood was so stuck and so nailed into the original siding. But we got it off and there's original siding, so that's awesome. Pretty pumped about that. But unfortunately, that same wall is coming off of the beams inside. So we actually are replacing every beam inside the house, both on the first and second floor. It's a 2-story home, and reattaching that wall to it. So it's going to be amazing when it's done. However, the price difference of wood to vinyl is about $800 a window on most of these sizes, and the house has 14, 3 on the front, and then the rest are on the side. Only one of those side ones is visible from the sidewalk. So, I mean, if I would have to just replace the one on the side to make it 4 total, that would even be helpful, because we're talking about, an $8,000, and if I have to do 11 of them, an $8,800 difference in windows, which I could definitely use to keep that structure together if I could reallocate that money. I would do black vinyl windows on the outside, so it would, to most people, it would look like they were wood. I've done a lot of houses at this point in the neighborhood, and I love living. I've lived here for 15 years. I don't want to cheapen the look. I just want to be able to finish the project, and that $8,000+ would go a long way in helping me do that. So, but yeah, it's definitely got its issues. It's basically, was falling over basically. So I don't know how people lived there. There's one, and then there's 2 of I wasn't even counting that one. There is one all the way in the back, which I know I'm free to replace, but then there's 2. So there's an addition that's brick, it isn't as wide as the main part of the house, that has 2 windows, so I was including that in the count. I wasn't including the one on the very back in the count. And then we're going to be adding, and it'll be coming to you at some point, we're going to be extending the second floor does not go over that addition. I wanted to make that addition 2 stories so I could extend the master bedroom up there. And that, I assume I'd be able to do vinyl on those additional couple of windows that would be on that part. But yeah, so I don't know. Any questions as far as the project goes or anything?
Are you gonna have any sort of fence or landscaping on the side of this house?
I don't have a plan for that yet. I want to see how everything goes. It's not a lot of room there in that walkway. I was going to put for sure, I've still got some of the original, the iron fencing from the 7th Street project, and I actually used it at 603 Monroe, where I live in 601, and I just rehabbed 603. So it had a chain link fence between our homes, and I replaced it with some original iron fencing, so it looks great. So I still have some of that. So I was gonna do that to make an entry kind of to the alley, so it'll look awesome. And all those windows will be black either way, but hopefully you'll allow me to do the vinyl for the money. I know we all hate vinyl, but these will look, I promise they will look good.
Yeah, it looks great. I like the siding, so.
Yeah, I think we can do some good stuff with it. We found some at Kelly Brothers, some wood that they have that's going to match it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once everything's sanded and painted, we should be able to blend the old with the new and look good.
I have to say, I am kind of a purist, but I really understand the monetary, the financial situation, and I'm really pleased that you're using black vinyl, because that is a game changer to me. And I like the idea of possibly doing the window that's closest to the front in wood.
Yeah, because I think
So-
I think from any angle, I walked along the sidewalk, and I kind of went out on the street, and that was the only one you can really see, because the next thing you see is the door on the side there.
That window directly below, we're talking about the one north facing, that upper window
Yeah,
that you said
so-
visible.
The
Is the one
third one
below,
below.
is the one below directly aligned with it?
Ramsey, do you want to, I've got these,
Oh, yeah.
It looks
it's
like
from
that's
across the
pretty
street.
visible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Point two. Oh.
no, you're right, there's two. Yeah, there's two, sorry.
So
Because
I
that
guess-
wasn't, that's not the door, it's the next one.
That's the door.
So
Yeah.
what I was curious is, would you be willing to meet halfway?
I would,
Do those
if you would let me just do those first two windows, that would save me so much money and allow me to do more of what I want in the
I
house.
do believe everything past that would not be visible.
And
Yeah,
especially
one
if they're
here.
black, I
Yeah.
don't think
And one
it's
up
gonna
here.
be really
Okay.
noticeable.
Okay.
Having it-
Two.
You're gonna do the front already in wood anyway?
The front already, yeah, we've already taken care of a COA for the front. So those three front will be,
You should be adding 2 more
yeah,
windows really.
exactly. Yeah, and you can kind of see on the front there, you kind of can see on the outline, but there was a front porch of some sort,
I was
so.
gonna ask
Yes,
you,
I noticed that the
I
other
drove
day.
by
Yeah.
and looked, yeah.
I was gonna ask if Mark has any ideas to shoot me some, text me some ideas, because I was looking around trying to find something that looked like that, where I could maybe kind of replicate it and make it look like it was from that era, but I don't have any ideas yet, but we're a little
It
bit
looked
away.
like that was just thrown between the 2 buildings later on, you know, it doesn't,
I-
it being a frame like that,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely an odd one.
It seems out of place right there in that one project, you know, where.
It does. It does, but I'm gonna make it look pretty, so.
How's the board feel about moving forward with that compromise?
I think I'm comfortable with that in this situation.
If you talk about 5 wood windows and the rest would be vinyl.
Yes. Could specify that they're black vinyl 2/2.
All of them 2/2?
All of them 2.
Okay, can do.
I would agree.
I agree.
We would like to make a motion with our findings of.
I will help make the motion if you help me.
Okay, so my first question for you is, does this meet the guidelines, or are we making an exception because of,
We are making an exception because of visibility.
okay? Sorry, I'm making notes just because, wonderful, okay. Question 2 is, what will the effect be on the integrity of the property?
I think it'll be minimal.
Okay. And what about the effect on the district?
It will be minimal impact on the district.
Okay. And so, given those findings of fact, what is your recommendation?
We approve the COA with the stipulation that the front 3 windows and the 2 highly visible windows on the side are all wood, 2/2 design. And the vinyl windows that are allowed on the side are all 2/2 black vinyl.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
I
Second.
second.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Commissioner Clift?
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker?
Yes.
Commissioner Fleckinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Haas?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramler?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all. Appreciate
You will
it.
hear from me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking on such a
Thank you for being.
project.
Project.
Yeah.
The funny thing is,
Yeah.
it's
That's good.
my maintenance guy's father-in-law's old house. Like, so I didn't even know when I bought it. You know Cecil?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he cried when he saw it, when he saw what these people had done to it. Yeah,
We're not done.
so I'll make it look really good for him.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, next item, application for a certificate of appropriateness to alter roof line and construct a rooftop deck at 216 Park Avenue.
Wonderful. So our applicant is here today. So they're at 216 Park Avenue. That's part of the ramp down there on Park. And he's got an apartment building with a garage that is recessed from the front of the property on the side, on the north side there. That is a secondary facade. So the applicant wishes to put a rooftop deck on that secondary facade on top of that garage. And to minimize visibility, the plan is to lower the ceiling while maintaining the visible roof line. So essentially, the perimeter of the roof line that exists now will become like a parapet wall, and he'll drop the rooftop deck down in there to minimize visibility. It will be inset from the edges as well, so it's not using as much space as it possibly could. The deck will have a perimeter guardrail and a planter wall along the front, is that correct? There at the east elevation. In terms of the work with like lowering the roof, they are planning on reusing a lot of original materials. And our guidelines really regulate parts of roofs that are visible in the east row. So if that roof line stays the same, I would argue that that does meet the guidelines. So page 43 of our guidelines, our first question, what does the guidelines say, right? Page 43 of the guidelines say that roof decks may be considered on a secondary or side facade if the Historic Preservation Commission determines the roof deck will not be highly visible from a street or sidewalk. I would argue that the applicant has taken multiple steps to reduce visibility. There will be a very minimal visual impact. The next question, what is the effect on the historic integrity of the property? There will be some visibility, so there will be a slight effect on the visual historic integrity of the building. I would argue that that has been minimized to the extent possible. The next question, what is the effect on the district? There is a lot of precedent for roof decks elsewhere in the district, and some of them have greater levels of visibility, and they have been approved. I would argue that this is not setting any kind of precedent for something that's going to become a problem later. This will not harm the integrity of the district. Do you all have any questions?
I know that the garage is old, but is it original to the building?
That is my understanding, yes.
What's the railing material going to be?
That's a good question. So, whatever you tell me you want, really.
Do we want to pull the, yeah, there we go. Hello, applicant.
Yeah, so the garage was built kind of like a ranch home because the owners lived inside. So they would just pull into the garage, walk through the basement, walk up the back steps into their apartment. So it's kind of unique in that respect. But the historic doors actually slide, like a curve around on a, I don't know what you call it. But yeah, they kind of, there's sections, and so they kind of bend as they go around. So it's not very practical for modern use, for people to just drive in. But yeah, the railing, my one guy would like to put some historic railing up there, but I think that makes it actually more noticeable than if it were just painted brick color like the building and it was just metal, minimalist railing just to keep people from falling off the roof. But there would also be planter boxes in front of it, so you really wouldn't see the railing unless you were on the deck, pretty much.
I'm curious, how long have you owned the apartment?
Let's see. It was a handshake across the fence during COVID. So it was 2000, I guess it's 3 years now, I guess.
I was just curious because I drive by and I see changes and really good changes, and so I was just wondering what was going on. So how many apartments are in?
There are 4.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually closed down for 2 years with no tenants while we renovated.
I don't see in section what is the dimension, how far it's sticking up past the parapet the guardrail would be? Do you know?
The railing being higher than the,
Yeah.
that I guess kind of depends on the railings, but, let's see. Yeah, on the drawing, it's not, I'm guessing it's gonna be like a foot or two.
Looking for it.
But
Minimal.
if you look at,
Guardrail.
Yeah.
if you look at this drawing on the very back, you
Yep.
can see how the planter box actually obscures the whole railing from the front of the building.
Yep.
So basically what you would see is this garage with a planter box on top of it.
There's like a retaining wall and then a guardrail. Fine.
Say that again?
It seems to me like there's a retaining wall that would be,
I think that's,
oh, that's a planter.
Yeah, it's the planter
Oh,
box,
that's
yeah.
what that represents, okay. Okay, cool.
and he's saying that would be kind of
Mm.
painted to match the brick.
Understand.
And so, yeah, so that from the front of the building, you won't see the railing at
Yeah.
all.
I would almost argue painting the planter box and the guardrails black would make them least visible visually, just because the contrast. You'd have the brighter brick and then the black one.
My one question is I have nothing black in the whole building. So if I went really dark brown or, you know, that kind of rusty red brown, that it would kind of match better.
I'll leave that to somebody else's.
Basically, kind of camouflage it a little bit.
Right. It's what I did to my house. I painted all the pipes and stuff going up the wall.
Famous
The-
quote that I've always heard, make it disappear.
Yeah, exactly. But we could also paint the planter blocks, the planter box, the same color as the planter boxes on the front of the house and blend it in that way. So they're like light blue and light yellow and match the trim of the building. So that's another possibility. So then they would be noticeable what they would blend in as opposed to making them disappear. I'm open to either.
I'm almost thinking from that angle, as that setback, it's really not gonna be visible from the street level either way.
Yeah.
So, I'm ready to make a motion if
Mm-hmm.
there's no further discussion. Okay, I would recommend that we approve the proposed project as is. It's on a secondary facade, it has minimal visibility and preserves the appearance of the original roof line. And the applicant has made a concerted effort to minimize the visual effect of the deck while maintaining the visual integrity of the property from the public right of way.
Okay, quick question. What would the effect be on the district?
Minimal.
Effect on that?
I'll second. Really?
Okay, Commissioner Cliff,
Yes.
Commissioner Crocker,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleckinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Haas,
Yes.
Commissioner Kolb,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramler.
Yes.
Unanimous. You will hear from me tomorrow with next steps, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, next.